And then I do have my colleague Keelan as well, who also assists with our services. So for those of you who are not aware, we represent the Washington District 9, so that consists of South Seattle, South Bellevue, all the way down to Federal Way with parts of Kent, Renton, Auburn, and everything in between. Our constituents are local governments, businesses, community groups, nonprofit organizations, and individuals. So anybody that is located within the 9th District, our office can assist. Some of the constituent services programs that we offer is military academy nominations for high school students or college students that are seeking service into a military academy. We do art competition, congressional app challenge, internships throughout the seasons. We assist with Capitol and White House tours. So if you're planning a visit to Washington, D.C., you can reach out to our office and we can assist with those tours and scheduling those. We assist with grants. And then flag requests. And the main thing that we assist with is federal agencies. Our office advocates constituents with their federal issues and serves as a neutral facilitator between the constituents and the agency. Our office cannot force an agency to expedite a case or act in a favor of a constituent's, positive result, but we can ask for consideration on these cases. We can also assist with referral services. So if you're not in our district, we can go ahead and refer you to the appropriate congressional office, along with resources, legal resources, or any other type of resources that you're looking for assistance with. Our jurisdiction, congressional offices have jurisdiction over the federal agency and must abide by all the federal laws, rules, and regulations. We cannot provide legal advice, and we do not communicate with lawyers unless requested by the constituents. Privacy release forms. Agencies cannot respond to a congressional inquiry without a privacy release form signed by the constituent requesting assistance. And then we don't speak to any third parties unless they're labeled on that privacy release form and give us authorization to speak with them a matter with any details of the case or just in general. These are some examples of our privacy release forms. So on the left, we do have our office privacy release form that just gives us general authorization to use your information and to send an inquiry on your behalf. And then the middle and right is the front and back page of the USCIS privacy release form. So if you're looking for any assistance within USCIS or immigration related, this will be the form that you would also provide for our office to send an inquiry for either a status update or an expedite request. Keelan's portfolio handles with pretty much a little bit of everything. Majority of it is non-immigration related, and then my portfolio would be everything that's immigration related. So if you're having needing any assistance with any of these federal agencies, we would be the ones that you would contact, and then we can assist based on our portfolios. And then, yeah, that concludes that presentation.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jalen. I always appreciate your time. I'm going to pivot over to some opening remarks from Adam, but please know that our office is always here to take in any questions that you guys have, and we're always happy to be of service. Jalen, of course, is happy to get your emails and always try to answer the phone. So feel free to reach out with anything that you guys might need. Have a great day, Jalen. Let me share my screen here. Sorry, cut myself off. We have some brief opening remarks from Adam. I'm going to pivot over to that right now.
Hello, I'm Adam Smith. I'm the congressman who represents the 9th District of the state of Washington, and I want to welcome you to my office's small business webinar. The purpose of this is to work with small businesses in our community and show them various organizations on the county and state level who are there to help them as they're trying to set up their business, figure out how to finance it, how to work with various agencies out there, We have the Washington State Department of Commerce, as well as some King County organizations and small business development organization as well, here to help you, to hear what you're concerned about, where you need help, and let you know what services are available. So my office is facilitating this. I want to thank my staff for putting this together. I hope you find this helpful and useful to you in your small business. We want to support small businesses in any way we can in our office. So hope the webinar goes well. Please reach out to my office anytime if there's something you think we can help you with, or if you have questions, comments, or concerns. Thanks again. Hope this is a very helpful process.
Awesome. Okay. So with that, we are going to pivot to some of our guests. We have 5 wonderful guests lined up for you guys today. So thanks again for sharing your time with us this afternoon. First, we are going to turn it over to Janie with the SBA to share a little bit about their services and how they're able to help small businesses. Janie, you can take it over.
Thank you, Trinity. I am going to go here and from the beginning. And can I have a thumbs up if you can see my
Great.
yes? Thank you. Okay, well, I'm with the Small Business Administration, and I've been a federal employee with the agency since May of 2020. And we are here to advocate for you as a small business, not only for funding, but other opportunities as well. So what I'm going to start with is what we consider to be our workhorse program, which is a 7A loan guarantee program. And if you need funding, you reach out to your lender. And if your lender is one of our vetted financial institutions and they are a participant in this SBA loan programs, they will first review your request under their normal underwriting criteria. And then if you don't meet their normal underwriting criteria, they have the ability to expand your request to get funding potentially under the 7A loan guarantee program. And what it does as a program is it extends a guarantee up to 90% of the outstanding balance of the loan to the lender to help them do a loan they may not otherwise be able to do. And we have 2 types of guarantees. One is what we call our cap line guarantee program, designed to support line of credit funding needs. And that includes transactions where you're applying for a line of credit and you just want cash for operating expenses, working capital to maintain your business operations. And then we have the ability to help lenders do seasonal increases and fund specific contracts to help you grow faster. And then for our builders that are in one of those 4 NAICS codes that you see listed there, and NAICS stands for North American Industry Code System, to identify what industry your business is in. If you're in one of those 4 and you're a builder, then you're eligible also for participation in a line of credit guarantee program. Most of the loans, however, are term loans, meaning that they have a maturity of over 12 months. And as you can see under that list, you can use those funds for any working capital need, like purchasing inventory, or funding the payment of accounts or trade payables, or just having money for operating expenses. You can do equipment, furniture, fixture purchases, and pay for the installation costs with that. We can help with business debt refinance to take high interest rate credit cards or loans that are maturing fairly soon and refinance them into a more reasonably structured term loan to meet your business needs. And we have the opportunity also to enable you to do changes in ownership and the financing of those, either 100% change in ownership or a partial change in ownership. That's a new change that's been in place for about a year. So that's a great one. And then if you want to buy an existing property that will house your business. You can do that. So with our programs, the only requirement there is that your operating company occupy at least 51% of the space. We also allow businesses to purchase land and do ground up construction. And the rule there is that you need to occupy at least 60% of the space at the time the certificate of occupancy is issued. Under this program, these loans are structured with adjustable interest rates, meaning that your interest rate will go up or down based on the frequency you establish with your lender for those interest rate changes based on the index that is selected by the lender. Most of our lenders use prime as the index, and then there is a spread at a maximum that they are allowed to charge based on the loan amount and the overall risk assessment that they're doing on your loan. The other program that we use is for our small business community is the SBA 504 loan program. This is specifically for financing fixed assets that are attached to a building or, again, owner-occupied commercial real estate, as I defined a few minutes ago, 51% for existing buildings, and then you have to have at least 60% owner occupancy when you moved into a new construction project. All right. So owner occupancy is key there. And what happens with this program is that you work with a lender and you work with one of our CDCs or certified development companies who act as the processing agent on behalf of the SBA. We have 5 in our district. And our district includes the majority of the state of Washington and the 10 northern counties in Idaho. So you can select from, if you're in Washington, any of these CDCs to work with. The only one that would not be available right now is the Panhandle Area Council because they support only Idaho-based businesses. The way the 504 program works is that your lender does at least 50% of the total financing of your project. And then the CDC helps you structure the SBA loan that can be anywhere between 30 to 40% of the project. And then you have a contribution that you must make as part of this. And that contribution range is anywhere from 10 to 20%. And I've given you some indicators here as to the requirements for the capital injection. But what I want you just to hear me say is if you've been in business for more than 2 years and you're doing a general purpose building, your contribution must be at least 10%. If you're a startup business, meaning that you've been in operation less than 2 years, then you have to have 10% plus another 5%. If you are in a special purpose building industry like a hotel or a gas station, you're required to add another 5% to your capital contribution minimum, but only on the first project. So if you've been in operation for more than 2 years and it's a special use building, your first project has a 15% capital contribution. And then after the first one, you're back down to a minimum of 10%. We also have a focus on green projects, which I think is really exciting. If you're doing a environmentally friendly building, then you can have the SBA component of the loan go all the way up to $5.5 million. And there are no limits. You can have multiple $5.5 million projects. And that's great for you. The thing that I like about this program is that it offers more fixed rate financing on these equipment and or commercial real estate transactions that are owner occupied, unlike our 7A program, which has that adjusting interest rate. Moving along to our non-bank, non-credit union financial institutions, we have 2 different types of lenders that we consider to be our mission-based lenders. And they focus on lending to business owners who are part of the BIPOC community, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, businesses that are in rural market areas, or maybe in areas of high unemployment or labor surplus markets. Our community advantage lenders are the four listed here. I've given you the links to those entities that can do those community advantage loans. Their loans can be up to $350,000. And they're structured very similar in nature to what a bank or a credit union would do, but they have more leniency in the underwriting criteria, and they are allowed to establish some of that criteria. Then we have our micro lenders who may loan up to $50,000. And again, you have the links to the four of them here. And each one of them has their own criteria that they are allowed to underwrite on and have a lot more flexibility. All of our community advantage loans, our regular 7A loans, again, are generally tied to an adjusting rate, but the lender decides on those programs how they want to structure your interest rate, and they could do more fixed rate pricing for you. But the micro lenders all are required to give you a fixed interest rate for the life of their loan. Our banks and credit unions and community advantage lenders are only able to lend to U.S. citizens and to business owners who are legal permanent residents. Our micro lenders, however, are allowed to also lend to people who are in the U.S. under work permits, as well as they may be a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident. We also have another program that's really targeted at our businesses that are more innovative and more entrepreneurial in terms of creating new product or penetrating that market where they're bringing something new to the community. And we have our small business investment companies to do that. I've included the link to our SBICs for your ease of finding the sources of them. But what our small business investment companies can do, because it's more venture capital in nature, they are able to either do a loan, or they can do an equity contribution, taking some of the ownership of the business, or they can do a combination of both. All right. And you are also, as a small business owner, allowed to obtain a 7A loan guarantee product in conjunction with whatever the small business investment company is doing, if needed, to expand your needs for accessing capital. The other thing I want to point out is that we do have, for our small manufacturers right now, an Investing in America program that's going on. And the way that works is, if you're a small manufacturer, you can qualify for up to a $300,000 matching grant for converting your facility and your equipment, or a combination of all, to a more energy efficient process. And there are assessments that are done, and those assessments initially are free of cost to you, so you can make a determination about how you can, as a small manufacturer, improve your footprint. And 7A guaranteed loans are allowed to be part of that up to $300,000 match per project. And then I want to talk to you also about our SBA surety bond guarantee program. It's a little bit different process in that you're allowed to take, for your bonding needs, your working capital position and get a multiplier up to 20 times with our surety bond. And the guarantee program here is an outstanding one for those of you who need bonding in your business to be able to bid on larger and more projects that expand your capacity to generate revenue and improve your operation. And then I wanted to touch on another program that we have called Thrive, which stands for Train, Hope, Rise, Innovate, Venture, and Elevate. And what that program is for a 6-month period of time, and you get one-on-one coaching, you learn about your financial statements, you learn how to operate your business more effectively, take it to the next level. And it's a great program. It's no cost. We run 2 a year. We're right in the middle of one that's running from this month until December. And again, it's no cost. It's designed to help you develop a relationship with other business owners, develop a cohort, so you have a team long-term to help you bounce ideas off of and talk about successes, maybe some failures. So that is a little bit about our Thrive program. And then we have technical assistance, which is no cost or little cost to you as a business owner. And this is our contact information. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Trinity. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again for your time today, Janie. You're always a wealth of information. I wanted to also shout out for the Q&A section. I did reserve just a few minutes at the end of today's webinars for Q&A, but my apologies, it is a pretty packed agenda, so I'm going to go on to the next speaker. I do see that we have one question in the Q&A, and I will do my best to circle back to your question. But with that, I will pass it over to Chris and Nicole from Washington State Department of Commerce for their presentation. I'm excited to see what they have to share with you all today. Thanks so much.
Good morning. Hope everyone's doing okay so far. Quick check-in, Trinity. Can you see my slide or can you see the notes?
I can see your slide.
Perfect. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much to Representative Adam Smith's office, Trinity, and the team for inviting us. And we're really excited to join in with you today. I don't know why our pictures aren't showing up, but I'm Chris Lovings. I work as a community engagement specialist here in King County for the Washington Department of Commerce. We're going to talk a little bit about the work that Commerce does and share about our small business supports today as we go through this presentation. Please feel free to send your questions in the chat. Nicole will try to answer while I'm talking, and I'll try to answer while Nicole is talking. So we're going to tag team today. And so basically, with Commerce, we really focus on strengthening communities. So sorry, for some reason, my slides aren't showing up. I'm going to talk through this, and I'll make sure that you have the PDF that shows the very nice, pretty pictures that we have for you as we're going through. But as a state agency here at Commerce, we run over 100 different programs, and we have 700 folks throughout the state who are focused on that goal of strengthening communities. The work we do is holistic, so we empower local government, businesses, and civic leaders. We also facilitate connections and provide direct financial and technical assistance that's matched to the unique goals and challenges of communities. When we talk about the work that we do, it tends to span across 4 broad categories, either serving communities, building infrastructure, growing the economy, or promoting Washington. Talk a little bit about my team. I'm in the community engagement and outreach team. We are a regional team. Once again, there'll be a really pretty map here to show you all of us across the state. But our goal are to be commerce navigators. After we learn about the needs of your community, we connect folks with Commerce's programming and resources, and we serve as an entry point for you to learn more about Commerce and relevant programs that fit your specific situation.
Hi, Chris. I have your PDF. Do you want me to share that while you're going through, or is it better if you want to? Okay,
that'd be great,
Let me pull it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing. Totally fine.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be on slide. Sorry about that. Slide 6.
Slide. Are we here?
Yep, you got it. Perfect. Let's go one more slide.
Okay.
I want to mention our Small Business Resiliency Network. And so this is a partnership that we have with 30 nonprofits across the state who are focused on breaking down the barriers that you may face as a small business. We know that some business owners have connections, know the players, and they're able to tap into government and other aid programs, but there tend to be a lot of barriers that prevent specifically minority-owned and historically underserved businesses and nonprofits from accessing those same programs. So with these Resiliency Network partners, they work with you to offer in-language outreach and culturally relevant assistance to small businesses, furthest from opportunity at no cost to entrepreneurs, small businesses, and nonprofits, with an emphasis on those communities who have historically been marginalized and underserved throughout Washington. The best way to access this program is through the link that you see on the page, commerce.wa.gov/SBRN. Next slide, please. And I'm going to turn this over to Nicole, who's going to share about the Small Business Credit Initiative programming and the Export Voucher Program. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you. Next slide. So first, I want to start with the 2 grants under the Small Business Credit Initiative that are currently open. So the first one is the Small Business Flex Fund. Small businesses or nonprofits can borrow up to $250,000. And there's a lot of flexibility in what that can be spent on, things such as payroll, utilities and rent, marketing and advertising, building improvements or repairs. So if you'd like more information on that, please go to the website in the top line, smallbusinessflexfund.org. The second is owner occupied commercial real estate loan program. So this is to help small businesses with commercial real estate loans. For example, if you're trying to occupy a new building or purchase land or construct a building on new land. For more information on that, please also visit the website. This one is heritagebanknorthwest.com/SSBCI. Thanks, Chris, for putting that in the chat. Next slide. So the other great service that Commerce has is export assistance. This is for international exporting for small businesses. That's what my team focuses on. We do an array of things from consulting to offering market research to small businesses to matchmaking with foreign buyers. We do trade shows and trade missions every year. We have at least 10 export trainings a year and our voucher program. So just a quick, why should a small business export? First of all, the purchasing power outside of the US is much greater than what's inside of the US. So if you're looking for more opportunities to expand, a good idea is to look outside of our borders. We've also noticed kind of the benefits to a company whenever they have a diverse portfolio of buyers. Usually they're 17% more profitable. It is easier to ride out an economic downturn if all your buyers aren't located in the same country where that downturn is happening. And 1 in 5 jobs in Washington is already connected to exporting. Next slide. Just real briefly, so we have a great network of trade and export resources here in the state. We call ourselves a one-stop shop. It's everything from the Export Finance Assistance Center, the U.S. Department of Commerce, us at State Commerce, EXIM Bank, SBA, the Department of Agriculture, WUSADA, different embassies that are set up here. Most of us are co-located together, so we're right next to each other at all times in the office, and we all work really closely. So if you ever end up at a different organization and you need resources elsewhere, we will pass you along internally. Next slide. And then the most relevant part is the STEP Export Voucher Program. So this is funded in part by the SBA and Washington State. The hope is to help you offset the cost of taking your products or services internationally. You can get up to $10,000 per year. That year is October through September. And things you can use it on, going on any of our trade shows or trade missions, or a trade show that most fits your product or service, traveling to meet new buyers, getting through any compliance testing that might be required to get into a new country, setting up on Amazon.Canada, translating your website, translating your marketing materials to reach a new market. Anything that's going to help you enter somewhere else and find foreign buyers, that's what this program is really focused on. For the application process, some things to keep in mind: you do have to be a small business. If you're concerned at all about your size, this SBA website link is a great way to check whether or not you qualify. Usually if you're 200 employees or less, you're small. So the other thing is you have to be in business for 1 year. You have to be registered in the state of Washington, and your product or service needs 51% US content or of US origin. And if any of that seems scary or you get hung up on it, please reach out, because we have different equations you can use to figure that out. Our application is online. So you just fill it out, submit it. Within 2 weeks, we will have a response to you, yes or no. And then you'll be able to start working on your activity. And here's just a quick overview of what we've done in 2024 and what we're doing through the end of September. We'll have a new list of shows coming out for October through next September of 25. And this is our team. So we are divided by industry. If you don't see your specific industry here listed, then you're under me. So please reach out. You can reach out to me too, even if you do have a different industry manager, and I can connect you so you can learn more kind of about your sector, what shows they're going to, what other things to think about when considering exporting. All right, I'll hand it back to Chris.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And you're on the right slide, Trinity. You can go to the next one. We're going to talk just about two last programs, and then maybe we'll have time for Q&A. One of them is a Brownfields Revolving Loan Fund. The idea with this fund is that we provide low-interest loans to local government, nonprofits, tribes, ports, and private businesses with the focus of funding designed for undertaking of cleanup of contaminated properties, basically. The best entry point for that program is Bridget Paris. I'm putting the link into the chat for the program. When we talk about a brownfield, EPA defines that as a property, the expansion, redevelopment, reuse, or reuse of which may be complicated by the presence or potential presence of a hazardous substance, pollutant, or contaminant. The goals of this loan fund are cleanup and redevelopment of sites, safety and health, improved environmental quality, and then creation of new jobs at or around the the sites. Next slide, please. And then finally for us, we have our MyStartup365.com. This is Washington's small business training and education center. We want to really give entrepreneurs and you all business owners a competitive advantage. We know that starting a business is hard and can be challenging, and running one can be even harder. So there are so many things that you have to know, from the endless paperwork and reporting to finding customers who not only want what you're selling, but will also tell others to buy from you as well. And so we put together this list of resources, tools, trainings, and programs to kind of grow your business, to start your business, rebuild your business, and sell online. So that is MyStartup365.com. Next slide, please. My name is Chris Lovings. I'm really excited to be here, and thank you so much for inviting us. Here's my information, and Nicole as well. I copy and paste it for you, Nicole. Your information as well in the chat. We're always happy to connect with you, and thank you so much for the time.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much, Chris and Nicole. I feel like I've met with you all individually. I still learn something new every time I hear one of you guys speak. So thanks again for being here today. I am going to start passing it over now to Lisa at the Washington State Microenterprise Association. But please, for everybody who's attending, please feel free to reach out to any of the panelists with any questions that you have. They're more than happy to help you. Lisa, you are welcome to take over the screen.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Lisa Smith. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the executive director of the Washington State Microenterprise Association. And I'm just really glad to be here. Trinity, thank you for inviting us. And just wanted to pause and say, first of all, congratulations if you're in business or starting. It's a hard road to hoe, but it's really fun. As long as you know you're not alone, there are resources available to support you, and there are places you can reach out to. So hats off to SBA and Department of Commerce. Our association really is partnering with all of these organizations to help make it easier for businesses to grow in prosperous ways. And I'm going to talk today about a link you can go to right now called Evergreen BizLink. And why this resource is important to us is because we know that if you know someone who knows about resources, you're in. But if you don't, it's really hard to find the right resources for the right type of business in the right location at the right time in the right industry. And that's what this resource does. So I'm just going to walk us through it and put your questions in the chat and I'll answer them at the end. So I wonder why this is not, okay. So first of all, we would not be here were it not for the partners that enabled us to get this ball rolling, to get Evergreen BizLink established. So many thanks to the Department of Commerce and your role and all the partners in the room. I also want to just say that the value of this resource is that it's available to anybody. and it's free to just go check it out. It's a resource for businesses, but if you're a provider and you want to find a resource for a business you're serving, this can also be very valuable. So it's a dynamic web directory, and there are quick links, not just to organizations, but to resources that'll help you along your path. And as I mentioned, this is geared to help startups, but anybody can get access to the resources here that are available for financing, for business planning, for marketing, for tax credits, really anything that you need in terms of business. Now, I'd like to play this video, but I'm not sure it'll work. And if not, Trinity, let me know.
Hi, Governor Jay Inslee here,
Can you
and
hear
I
okay?
want to say I'm excited to welcome you to the Evergreen BizLink.
Yes.
We're really excited that you've chosen to build your own business here, and we look forward to rolling up our sleeves and working alongside you to help in your business endeavor. You know, Washington is the #1 state to do business in, and you're the backbone of every community. And we have the most highly skilled, talented workforce here in our state. We're at the center of innovation and cutting-edge research, and we embrace diversity and welcome hardworking people seeking to build a better life for their families here. It may seem daunting to set out and start something new or to nurture your business. That's why we want the thousands of business owners in Washington to be aware of the free or low-cost resources that are available to them online. Evergreen BizLink helps entrepreneurs like you forge lasting relationships with business specialists that offer business training, technical assistance, and tools financing 24/7. So good luck. We know you're courageous. We aim to work with you. Look forward to your success.
So that's just a welcome from the governor. We're super excited that he was able to be a part of this. So I want to direct your attention, first of all, to this slide. When you go onto the website, there are these headings above that have drop-down menus. You'll see that there's information for startups or growth or funding, and then there's resources. And you'll see that there's this box on the right where you can navigate. You put in your zip code, you know, the region that you're in, the industry you're in. You don't have to fill out all the steps, but just some of them to help guide this resource to serve you for where you are. Once you get to the navigator, as I mentioned, you put in your zip code, the kind of industry you're in, what kind of resources you need, and up will come these options. You'll look at them, you'll read about them, and let's say you want to open up a cooperative, and this is the organization you want to work with. Well, there's this little green box right here where you click. It says connect with this organization. When you click on there, you'll then put your information in this navigator-like thing, but this will reach that provider right away. And once you do, that partner will reach out to you and build a relationship with you. So this is all at the click of a button. I'd love you to try it now or after this presentation, but just know this resource is there for you. If you have any additional questions, please reach out to us at Evergreen BizLink, or you can reach out to me at the Washington State Microenterprise Association. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks so much for highlighting that resource, Lisa. And we have two more guests we are going to highlight today. Up next, we have Taryn Hornby with the Small Business Development Centers. And you are welcome to take over the screen, Taryn.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Representative Smith for this opportunity, and thank you, Trinity, for putting this all together and coordinating with us. I would like to introduce the SBDC. We are the Small Business Development Center. My name is Taryn Hornby. I'm a certified small business advisor. In the audience is Steve Burke, the Western Regional Manager. We were formed through the Small Business Act by the SBA. We have 63 programs in the U.S. We're a national organization. Washington State in Pullman has hosted us since the beginning, and we have a co-op agreement match with our stakeholders. We have many different locations, as you can see, a big concentration around the South Sound. Our goal is to keep increasing, so you're never more than 2 hours away from one of our offices. Some are just in regular offices, other ones are sub-recipient centers, which means we're placed in different colleges around. Western is one of the colleges, Green River, which is the one I'm associated with, Highline College, and then you can see all the different locations on the map here. Our mission is to help Washington businesses grow and succeed through advising, education, and research. We would love to be Washington's world-class business advising service. We value innovation, integrity, collaboration, and inclusion. And how do we accomplish our mission? We provide face-to-face, no-cost business advising to clients. We have the tools and the resources to help them discover and answer the questions. And very important, we don't make the decisions for them. We just present different opportunities and help them walk through the process to determine what is the best goal and strategy for their business. We are a resource for our clients to help make informed decisions. Like Lisa said, we all work together with these different organizations. We offer no-cost advising services, anything from startup to selling your business. Here's just a few listings of the business topics that we could cover: planning or growing your business, analyzing financial statements, acquiring capital and managing cash flows. So if you're looking into the Flex Fund, if you're looking into any of the SBA programs, the 504, the 7A, we're happy to walk you through those, give you more information. How do you become lender ready? How do you put together the forecast, the application, all the information that you need? We can walk you through those steps. I can even go to the lender with you and translate all their little letter words. So we can help you buy or sell a business. We also have 3 exporting experts. And just remember, you don't have to be a large business to be able to export. Yes, we work with the STEP program. These 3 experts will help you in the country. They will set up the vendors in the country, help with the STEP program. They'll tell you the customs. They'll introduce you to the EXIM Bank, which was mentioned, to help finance your organization. We also have a group in Spokane, which is our headquarters, to help with market research, a full group that could help you with that information. I could help you with business systems and record keeping, getting and keeping customers, cost-cutting strategies, finding and keeping qualified employees, which is very difficult in today's market. In addition to advising, we also offer low or no cost training services. I'll show you our website at the end. We have on-demand training. You could sign up for a webinar. You could select the topic that you're the most interested in. We try to cover as many topics and meet as many needs as possible based on the information provided by our clients. As you can see, we had almost 5,000 training attendees, and we delivered 205 training events. Our statewide network, I think I'm the only one that was wearing sunglasses on this day in Ellensburg when we took the picture. We have 40 to 50 advisors. I think we're up to 45 right now, all with different backgrounds, and our only goal is to help you become more successful. Our typical advisor has owned a small business or has management experience, has an MBA or equivalent, prior consulting counseling experience, proven financial analysis, and communication skills. One of the benefits to our organization, we all come from different backgrounds. Mine is lending. I've been a vice president for a sub of the largest bank in the world. Steve Burke, the regional manager, His background is leasing. So when you're presented with a 30 to 50-page lease, one of your largest expenses for your small business, he can help decipher what that paperwork means. We also have someone whose background is HR. We have someone whose background is social media. So if I can't answer your question, we have experts in our organization that could help. If you look at the demographics that we served, I think it represents our area quite well. We are striving to reach more and more the underserved community. So all different types of people we help, and we try to keep every business as successful as possible. Here's our economic impact in 2023 by the numbers. We advised almost 3,400 clients. Once again, almost 5,000 training attendees. We delivered training events, and I think the one I'm most proud of, 97% client satisfaction rate. So you could see the numbers. We help in many different areas. We feel that we're very successful with the advice that we give. Our 10-year economic results, new capital, over 900 million. We work closely with SBA and the Department of Commerce, different organizations, once again, to try to help you have access to capital and to have your business increase in revenue, increase in jobs, and actually start your businesses. But I think what tells the best story are our clients. North Shore Automotive said this wouldn't have happened for me without Rich and the Washington SBDC. Rich Shockley is at Highline College in Federal Way. Mari, she has her own asbestos company. She said sometimes you don't need someone to hold your hand. You need someone to challenge you. She's one of my clients, and I do challenge her. I work hand in hand with another one of my colleagues, Kevin Grossman. I nominated Mari for the State Star Client of the Year. I think not only does she run an excellent business, but they hire employees who have been incarcerated. So she wants to give people opportunities that possibly other organizations don't give opportunities to. A sensory tool house, having an available advisor to answer your toughest questions, give guidance and listen to your challenges and successes without ulterior motives is incredibly valuable. I always recommend those exploring or running a business contact an SBDC because having a place to go when things are tough or challenging is priceless. Axe Pharmacy, the SBDC has great business coaches. All business owners should avail themselves of their services. It's the only way to learn so much that you need to know. Sash Painting. It's like having a personal trainer for your business. Once again, Rich's assistance is invaluable. The SBDC has been instrumental to the survival, success, and growth of our business. Bellingham office. SBDC is the powerhouse that fueled my journey from passion to triumphant business success. A force to be reckoned with. Thank you so much for your wonderful comments. Now I don't feel intimidated when people talk about ITAR. The SBDC gave me the confidence that we can engage with these foreign markets and be a disruptive force. Once again, we have 3 experts in exporting throughout the state of Washington. Lorena was very detailed in our meetings, and she would send me follow-up emails to make sure I had the information I needed. And here's our contact information. If you would like to learn more about training, please go to www.wsbdc.org. You can learn more about our network, what we do, learn more about our counselors. If you'd like to email us and request a counselor, it's right here. And here's our phone number. And I thank everyone, and I will remain here for questions. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Terrence. And as questions start coming in, I just wanted to provide some kudos to everybody who's in the room today. Something that was emphasized to me when I first started learning about the Small Business Support Network was that there was no wrong door, that you can contact any one of these people and they will get you to the place that you need to be as a small business. So I am always blown away by their commitment to making our businesses thrive in Washington State and beyond. So thank you all for your dedication. And we have one more special guest today. We have Marquise with the Community and Business Connectors with King County, and you are welcome to take over the screen, Marquise.
And you are on mute as a heads up.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Chris. And thank you, Trinity, for the intro. Let me get you guys started. So, wow, talk about a wealth of resources here for small businesses, right? And when you think about small businesses, you're thinking about, you know, the kind of crux of our economy, right? At the end of the day, we have big businesses, we have really small businesses and mid-sized businesses, but you know, the thing I understand is that, you know, our mom and pop shops are the things that sustain our economy. Those are things that, you know, provide access to economic accessibility and ability to grow and change your economic situation. So just an honor to be here amongst you all and hearing all the great resources that are here. I'm representing the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, and one of our programs that we run out of it is a Community Business Connector program, which is different than a lot of our work at the Chamber in terms of it's a lot of membership work. And this is a program that's aimed at, you know, small businesses and startups that aren't able to be members of the Chamber, but can still receive a level of service that's in line with what you would get from being a member, and maybe even more. And Marquise Roberson, Project Director in the Economic Development Department there at the Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce. So when we're thinking about the Community Connector program, it was born out of, you know, a response to COVID. The program has only been going on for about 1.5 to 2 years, and really aimed at, like I mentioned before, small business support and building an ecosystem around them. When thinking about small businesses and the isolation that sometimes feels like that you're alone and you don't know where to go, and you may not have a friendly face or a person to interact with to understand, like, what's the next step in building my business, or when I run into a problem, who do I turn to? And the Connector program really being a space where we have on the ground access to businesses to be able to be there and coach them and point them in the right direction, especially when focusing on linguistic needs, cultural and geographic barriers, right? So the way that we look at this is that when COVID happened, a lot of things were kind of thrown off kilter, right? We had some enforced closures, we had supply chain issues, we had customer behavior changes, where you could shop, you know, where you can't shop, how do you shop with them? Now there's apps for everything to get everything. What we wanted to do is build a business recovery and retention kind of program that supports equitable business support and economic insights. So really being able to understand what are the challenges and barriers that businesses face on an everyday basis, and how can we be supports to them geographically to help them figure that out and to stay in business, right? So we have our Community Connector program, which acts as a business resource network that kind of convenes everybody to help support businesses within the region. So similar to the SBDC, we work with them as well, and WIDA and all the other supports that we have. We want to be an additional support there that kind of convenes people and brings folks together to support businesses when it comes down to it. So building this strong network and understanding where the gaps or the needs are so that we can be there for businesses as they find barriers or issues that they run into. The way that I like to think about our program is that we're kind of like insurance. We want to be a friendly face that's there when you need us. And if you don't need us right now, you know how to get in contact with us. And if you do need us, we're able to sit down with you and understand your unique context and be able to point you in the right direction and be there for you, whether that's through filling out forms or translation or interpretation, or just being there and walking through the process with you and providing you with any resources that you need. Some of the active participants in the Business Connector Network, we have a business retention network strategy, and where we have city partners for each city that we work in, service providers, and then CBOs that have experience in working with connectors and their business clients. Another way that we do this work too is kind of in a group setting where we hold annual events that provides network updates, but also connector initiatives that are focused on what they're hearing on the ground as they're working with businesses and being able to put together events that can address those issues so that we can build this community and this network around what we're experiencing throughout the region. So our program is kind of housed out of the website. I can throw it in the chat in just a little bit here. But what you would do is you would come to our website and click the Get Started button, and it will provide you with a form that will allow you to explain what you're going through so that we can connect you with a business connector in your area that will be able to get on a call with you, come and visit you, or email back and forth around how we could help and get you connected. So this is kind of a picture of what it looks like. What a business would do is they will submit a help ticket. It will go to a connector and it will specify business needs. So whether that's access to capital, business planning, marketing and technology, city and state issues like permitting, and then social services. That connector would read through that ticket, get in contact with that small business owner and set up a meeting. And then connect them with service providers or technical assistance providers in order to help them get to that next level. Not only do we work through this ticketing system, but we have connectors that are in 26 different cities that go out actively talking to businesses, trying to get the word out around the program that we run and seeing if they need help or what help do they need. These are kind of the 26 cities, and we break them down into 5 different hubs that we work in. And kind of like some of the other programs spoke about, our connectors are, current business owners. They work for CBOs within the community or other chambers that have like deep knowledge around aspects of running a business and how to grow a business. They're also very connected to other resources throughout the community too. So as you can see here, they're kind of regionally based across King County. The thing to note about this is that we work with any business at the end of the day. It doesn't just have to be a business that's affected by COVID, but we work with any small business, startup business that might need help. And our goal is to get them connected to resources that can help them stay in business and or grow. And to just be a resource there for them at any point in time that they might need us, so they can always reach back out. And then this is just the visualization of some of the organizations that represent the community connectors that we work with. So over the course of the year, our goals are, we have 9 connectors that are tasked with working with at least 200 businesses a year. The 9 connectors, they're expected to make 30 direct referrals to service providers or technical assistance providers in order to connect businesses that are experiencing hardship so that we can ensure that they get the resources that they need. As I mentioned before, we're in 26 cities that were outlined in kind of the hub model, and we take inbound calls from 12 other cities as well, just to support. And then lastly, while we are focused on the entirety of King County, knowing that Seattle has a lot of resources as well, we also take inbound calls from Seattle businesses and kind of guided by the Office of Economic Development to help support those businesses in the greater Seattle area too. And that's kind of the wrap up of our program. Community Business Connectors. I would throw the link in the chat so that you can access and go and see the website. But that's it. Any questions? I'm going to stick around as well to answer anything that you have. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Marquise. And thank you so much to everybody who came today, all of our panelists and special guests, along with all of you who registered to attend and share some of your time. I know all of you included are busy. We have just about 15 minutes here, so if folks have questions, please go ahead and pop them in the Q&A, and we have this wealth of knowledge available to help answer those questions. But please know this isn't your only time to access them. They are more than happy to help you and are eager to answer your questions. So thanks again, all of you, for making the time to be here today. I really do appreciate it. Also, all the panelists, y'all have been superstars in the chat. Like, I didn't anticipate all the activities, so thank you so much for all of the questions that have already been answered by all of you.
Trinity, I'm
Yes.
wondering if we could just raise a candle, I think, for folks, if they have a disability. There's a nonprofit that we've been able to provide funding for that really helps entrepreneurs with disabilities, but also people with disabilities who have needs in this space. It's the Northwest Access Fund, and I just put them in the link in the chat.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Lisa. I see one question in the chat asking, how long does it take to register a small business in King County?
I'll give it a little bit of a go. You actually, what I would encourage you to do is work with one of our technical assistance providers, like Taryn, and they can give you guidance in terms of getting the business registered with the state of Washington. And depending upon your legal entity type, it may not only be the Department of Revenue that you're registering with, but also with the Secretary of State. And then depending on where the business is located, it may be a city license as well that may be required. So if you work with one of the certified business advisors, like Taryn, they can give you guidance and make sure that you're covering all your bases and that you have proper organization documents for your legal entity type. Okay, so that would be the guidance I would give you. Thank you.
Right, and what I'm hearing, Janie, from my clients is once you have all that information, I mean, in a day, you could apply with the Secretary of State to form your organization, and then the Department of Revenue to get your license, the city license. You know, once again, this could all be done in a day. I hear the licenses are shipped out within 2 weeks-ish. So it's more the research and getting all your ducks in a row that takes the time, rather than applying online for your license or forming your organization with the Secretary of State.
Great. And another question I see was asking about support for a public market. And when I see this question, I'm anticipating maybe micro businesses, like small food businesses or creatives. Where would maybe those small businesses and or the market itself look for business support?
Well, I'm going to go again. The Small Business Administration supports several different technical assistance providers without cost. So we have the Washington Small Business Development Center, which is represented by Taryn. And then we have our women's business centers. We have 3 in the state of Washington. One is in Tukwila. It's housed with Business Impact Northwest. The other one on our side of the mountains is in Lacey, and it is housed with the Thurston County Economic Development Council. And then we also, for the veterans, we have the Veterans Business Outreach Center, which is housed also with Business Impact Northwest in Tukwila. And then we have SCORE, which is the Service Corps of Retired Executives. So any of those resources are able to work with you to develop a business plan or whatever else you need from and they're literally of very either no cost or little cost to you, and it just depends on what you're doing with them, right? And they are the best resources to help you think about the planning and making sure again that you're on task with whatever legal entity type. Thank you.
And I see your hand, Lisa. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if this entrepreneur is looking for a place to sell their goods, it could be that a local farmer's market might be a good place to start. I just put a link in there for the statewide network of farmers markets. And sometimes you have to go through an application process. And then there are more informal markets like the West Side Market in Olympia, or makers markets that are not formalized, but and social media has been really a good way to find those. So those are just 2 ideas. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And I see your hand, Taryn.
Yeah. Roger, I'm not sure if you are looking to host the market or be a participant in the market. I can help you if you're a for-profit business. If you're a not-for-profit, that is not our specialty. Our stakeholders ask that we deal with for-profit business owners. So I'm happy to discuss this with you, or if you want to go to wsbdc.org and sign up for your area. I'm not sure where you're at, and they can put you in touch with the advisor that is closest to your area. Thank you.
And a related question just popped up in the Q&A saying, if you want to start a small business, but you're not sure like what you should be registered as, if you want to be a nonprofit or an LLC or otherwise, is there somebody who can advise you in the early stages of that?
And I can take that one briefly, as well as the other comment that came in through the chat. Roger, along with what Lisa shared, please reach out to me. I'll put my information in the chat again. We can definitely talk more about that. I may have some ideas, but I would love to learn a little bit more about kind of your specific situation. Janie, I also saw that you were typing up information kind of based on what you've shared. Besides the resources that Janie shared, there's also the Commerce and Small Business Resiliency Network. So they exist to kind of help to navigate those pieces as technical assistance advisors as well, similar to the work that Taryn is doing as well. And so there's quite a few amount of spaces to kind of connect with folks in that space.
I would definitely also encourage any business owner or someone who wants to be a business owner to have an attorney and a CPA or a bookkeeper really help you get started in a good way with the organization documents. And I know it costs a little bit of money, but especially for the attorney side. But if you're doing a limited liability company or a nonprofit corporation or a sub S or C corporation, those attorneys are going to stay attached with you long term so that they can help you with the renewals and do things timely, so that you always have the protection of having that umbrella separation between you and your legal entity. And staying on top of those things for renewals annually when you have to do them is really an important and critical thing to protect yourself from liability. Okay. And the CPAs, the bookkeepers, they will help you get your financial information and whatever tool you're going to use for a software program set up properly so that it's easy for you to maintain control of your financial information and be able to transition it to them for finalization at the end of the year or monthly or quarterly, whatever you're doing. Okay. So those 2 resources, I think, are worth their money. Just get someone who is an educator and can really answer your questions and you feel comfortable about asking questions of. Thank you.
Great. Reading the next question in the Q&A, they're asking about if there's any funding or support available for advertising or marketing. Do any of you have supports for those endeavors?
I can talk about a little bit for marketing. Something recently came out from Commerce called the Small Business Flex Fund that I'll throw into the chat. The idea with that is this Flex Fund offers up to, so I'm drawing a blank on, I think it's $250K for business owners. That includes things like marketing and advertising. So that would be one of the things from Commerce that I can think of happy to hear from other folks that may have other ideas as well.
Yeah, I was just going to add that if you do a search, if you go into Evergreen BizLink and put your location, you're looking for financing or marketing support, up will come providers that do not only microloans, that could be a SBA microlender or a USDA microlender. There are local investment networks that provide small loans to rural communities. So just a resource, depending on what you're looking for, it's a great place to do that initial search.
Great. And then another question in the Q&A. I'm gonna one comment in the chat. I see your question, Arsen, regarding purchasing a community center. I would highly encourage for you to email me, since I also do the grants coordination piece. So I'm happy to navigate some grants that your organization could qualify for that end goal. But looking back in the Q&A, Jen writes, I run a small pop-up food vendor business working at festivals and other outdoor events, but I'm wondering, how do I know when to take the next step? I want to have my own brick and mortar, but I have no idea how to make that next step.
Again, I'm just going to say, I really encourage you to work with some of the technical assistance providers. And I've given you all the links for the ones that work with the Small Business Administration in my slide deck. And they are all all do an outstanding job. And there's no reason you can't work with more than one and reach out to more than one to find out who has the most appropriate services to help you and who you're most comfortable working with. They're not going to do the plan for you or your cash flow projection. They're going to have you create that. You have input and you make a determination. But more importantly, they will give you guidance as to understanding what you're doing and how to make those next step decisions, right? And I've had many businesses work with all of the technical assistance resource partners over the years, and they've all done an outstanding job. And I used to be a lender for 30 years prior to joining the SBA, so I utilize them with my client base. Thank you.
Great. We'll get a comment from Taryn and then Lisa, and then we'll wrap up. Thanks.
Trinity, I'm going to ask you a question. Every client that comes in asks me about the available grants. Can you address that in 2 minutes or less?
Sure. Short answer, there aren't many for businesses. There was a big wave of grants available during the COVID era, and that is true, but that was sort of an exception, not the rule. I've found that grants available through counties will sometimes make exceptions for LLCs or profit businesses, but I would say greater than 95% of grants available would be strictly for nonprofits, municipalities, local governments, things like that. So I'm always happy to do a search for a business if there is something that can be found, especially with different programs through these organizations who are here with us today. But in general, when we're thinking about grants, we're mostly thinking in terms of nonprofits.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I was just going to add to the excellent suggestions from these colleagues that if you have a food truck or a food vendor operation and you've developed a following, people like your food, you've kind of tweaked and understand your menus, you're doing well. There are a lot of ways of getting into a brick and mortar, but I mean, these technical assistance providers on Evergreen BizLink are great, but also just the SBDC. I'm just going to do a shout out to this incredible resource. They will sit down with you for free and walk you through your cash flow projections. They'll walk you through your market analysis. They'll help you think about like how many tacos do you need to make in a day in order to make sure you meet your projections. And so can't say enough about that network of providers. I wish you really well. I'd love to eat your food. And just good luck to you and everybody on this platform, on this Zoom call.
Wonderful. And with that, I'm going to wrap up today's webinar. Thank you everyone for being here today. Again, I can't express my gratitude enough. This webinar was recorded and I will send it out to everybody who registered along with all the slide decks I have permission to share. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a lovely sunny afternoon, and always happy to be in touch. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for having us. Have a great
Thank
day.
you, Trinity. It's great. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.